Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Beyond the Barclay with me, Jez Davies. New and improved camera, Morgan, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you look. I can actually see you this time, which is nice.
Can you hear me okay as well? Is just checking this, probably down before we came on. Might check. Excellent stuff. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. It's good to it's good to the theme tune this morning really kind of roused me. So yeah, I'm good.
Any reflections on our most recent episode with Stuart Webber?
Still kind of getting my head around it. It's all very surreal. I mean, it has to be said that 7 years ago when he came to Norwich, I was like, oh, amazing. And then I wouldn't have thought that I'd be speaking to him about his career. So yeah, a little bit surreal.
No, I agree with that. So, I mean, without further ado, let's introduce our guest. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to introduce Ian Thornton, who is head of the Community Sports Foundation. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you very much, and thank you for the invite. Getting away with that cheesy music too soon, that's interesting. So you're going to get a bit of banter about that. I know it's really good that you've asked us to come on and ask about all things at Norwich City and the Community Sports Foundation and the role that we try and play in the community as much as possible. So thank you very much for asking us.
No, not at all. And I think, you're right there to sort of highlight that. I think it's something that we're really keen and passionate about as a sort of a fan podcast, speaking to fans about their experiences. And we've had the fortune of speaking to one or two of your volunteers already, and notably Sue Quantrill, who was nominated Fan of the Year last year for her efforts. And I think it's such a crucial and important part of the community and part of the club that you guys operate. So yeah, we're really looking forward to finding out some more.
Good. I'll do my best to answer as many questions as I can for you.
Thank you. Just before we start, and I did show you this before we came on, but I think for the audience at home, I did want to show everyone my football in the community. What would we call this? Certificate. And here's my rating. So I got 1 for an attitude, and just look at that photo there of Mr.
That was last week.
I'll take that all day long. Can I just check on that? So that originally we were called Football in the Community way back when. Obviously, then converted to Sports Foundation about 2012, and all our children on soccer schools during Football in the Community get an assessment as part of the week. There's a bit of fun to give them a bit of grade to see how they're progressing. It was interesting. You got a 1 for attitude. Is that correct, or was that not correct? Did the coach make the right assessment there or not?
Well, I'm just looking back through some of the other ones that I got as well, Ian, and this one was a 1 for attitude as well. And then this one here, I think he just thought, go on, he's all right. Let's just give him 2 for everything. I think he's had quite a good week. But yeah, no, it was. I thought I love these getting these at the end of the week, and I think is this something you would still give to a child that attends one of your soccer schools? Would you say?
Yeah, so all the soccer schools and all the football development programs, after school clubs, they'll always get some kind of memento. Kind of recognise we don't necessarily grade the children anymore because it's more about participation, fun, and experience. But I think the main thing is that a lot of the courses that we do, we want to create connectivity with the football club. Yeah. Football clubs have to be much more a football club on a match day on a Saturday or Saturday morning or Tuesday night. It's the most important day of a football club, 100%. But as a football club, we want to make sure we've got that connectivity through the foundation in the community. And through soccer schools, after school clubs, development centres. There's a real connectivity that people want to do more away from match days. It's about creating memories, learning new skills, helping parents, because a lot of parents have to go to work and their children have got to go somewhere safe and fun in the school holidays. But to see that certificate, other than the dodgy Barnet of mine a few years ago, you've kept that in your life that you've remembered. And you've managed to keep it, which is great. But I'm sure we can talk about the scores another time.
I mean, for all 5 of our viewers who are watching this, I'd say they probably agree with that score for attitude. And I have to deal with this on a regular basis. So I'd probably echo that sentiment, to be fair.
Ian, I was just about to, how much of the Pizza 1 Pancake 2 sponsorship most of?
Yeah, we did quite a lot back then. We actually did a massive launch outside Dreamland with a human table football. But again, look, partnerships, people helping us deliver these projects and programs is massive for us. The certificate that you brought out, one of the best things I do like seeing is lots of children used to have photographs of players. Way back when we could take the children to Trouse in the early days before we moved to Colney, which is obviously now the event training ground. We used to take the children to the training ground, and having photographs with a player was one of the highlights of the week. It was one of the hardest things to organise, but when you get a chance to meet the players, which a number of our players, both male and female now, will visit soccer schools and different courses. But having that photograph with a player, meeting a player, was something that we still, we get a lot of. Did you get a trophy by any chance? Were you a most improved player, or were you a Premier player, or you definitely got most improved player about you?
Yeah, I did, but I'm trying to think where they are. I don't think they're in this room, otherwise I would have shown you. But yeah, no, definitely got. I think I randomly got goalkeeper of the week one week, but yeah, I would have definitely got a few trophies. I mean, this one here comes with a little thing at the bottom. Well done, good week's work. Keep enjoying your football. And I think it's Matt Baisley.
Yes, I spoke to Matt last week. So Matt was the part-time coach at the time. So I spoke to Matt last week, but then I'm sure you've had a photograph with. You might have been Keith O'Neill's most improved player, or you might have been Brian Gunn's goalie of the week.
But I definitely had
Marshall's goalie of the week. Rob Green's goalie of the week at the time. Yes, it's good. It's good that you still got that connectivity and memory. And to be honest with you, that motivates the hell out of us. That the fact that you still remember, your youth, your connectivity, is why you get that yellow and green blood in it. Really, you're in. You're not getting out now.
No, I think we always talk about Norwich being quite a captive audience in terms of there's not many football clubs around the area, but I think there's still. When I went to school, there was a lot of Man United fans and Tottenham fans. So I think it's important. Another important part of your community, the community work you do, Ian, is to make sure that we convert as many people as possible to Norwich fans. They don't go down the important.
Definitely. Over a period of time, I think when Blackburn was successful, there was a couple of Blackburn shirts around. You're always going to get the big 4, 5, or 6 shirts around, because I think especially now with access to kind of social media, children have access to mobile phones. You do get a lot of top 6 kind of really in your face a lot, but it's paramount that the local football club takes some responsibility, and that might be your Galstons, your Wroxhams, do stuff in the community with their local group, local grassroots teams. But for Norwich to be a professional football club, to have a fan base that we've got, which is kind of unbelievable, we need to make sure that we're giving back in the community as much as we possibly can, and through the foundation and things like soccer schools and disability courses and our schools program, it's another way to stay involved, because the football club should take responsibility in the community, and it does through the foundation. And you show me things like that. We've been going nearly 35 years now, so you think of the number of children that have kind of come through the program, both boys and girls. And what we're finding now is quite a few of the children that come through the program are doing things like we're doing now, or they're bringing their own children back to the courses as well. So it's all part of being a fan, and it's all part of us, trying to support the community, because without sounding too cheesy, they support us on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon with the girls at the nest to support us.
Yeah, it's something that we've had quite a lot of exposure to, and I think I bring it up almost every week, that since doing this podcast, you realise just how big the club is, and how big the support is, and how big the fan base is, and how rabid the fan base are, and how much it means to them, people from all over the world. And it's it's crazy since we've been doing this, Jez, like since you started your sort of little project with this, just how it's grown, and all the fan stories. And it's not, I know, Ian, you say it's a cheesy thing, but it isn't. Without the fans, there is no club, so you have to give back to, there has to be a symbiotic relationship.
And that's very much why we deliver a lot of our programs. You think that the number of fans and season ticket holders this football club has got, it's unbelievable. It is so impressive. and then you kind of see what we're trying to do in the community is give back.
Yeah.
Trying to help you. I was at the game on Saturday. You know, you talk into a dad who's brought his son, who's come with his father and his son's grandfather. You know, generations are either passing season tickets through, or the chance for, you know, mum and son to come to football, or dad and daughter to come to football. It's so much more than football. It's a topic of conversation at the dining room table. It's someone that when you go on holiday, someone recognises the crest. You know, and it is one big family.
Yeah.
But we do tend to celebrate what goes on between the four corner flags, and that arguably is the most important thing at a football club, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make sure through the foundation that we were doing more things that make sure people stay connected to their football club, and that's always been our aim.
Yeah. Jez, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, let's kick off questions then. So Ian, could you share your vision for the Community Sports Foundation and how it's evolved since you became CEO?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it necessarily has been my vision. I think the vision of kind of the culture of the football club was kind of our infinite purpose is to make our football club and its community better today than it was yesterday, in any way, shape or form. That's always kind of the big picture vision. We just wanted to make sure, pretty much what I kind of touched on earlier really, was just taking responsibility in the community. Football clubs and football have got a real powerful force to make a difference.
Yeah.
And it was something that both Delia and Michael were passionate about. It's something that our exec team are passionate about. It's something our new owners are passionate about. And, you know, the staff here at the foundation, we have to use football for good. So it was about how do we involve sport? How do we involve the crest of Norwich City Football Club? And it was about, you know, taking a little bit of responsibility, making a difference in the community, trying to help where we possibly can. And we don't profess to be, you know, the answer to everything, but football does get involved with a number of different social, economic and community challenges that we can actually help. And all we've tried to do is make our fan base proud, try and make the community of Norfolk proud, and try and help where we possibly can. So the vision is really to just use the power of football and sport to make a difference and inspire people. And if we've done that on a soccer school, however many years ago, Jez, and it's, you know, still kept you connected, and it still kept you a fan, and you're still kind of buying a shirt, or you're coming to a game, or you're bringing your friends and family. It's just trying to make sure we've done our bit in the community. So the vision was always just to help where we possibly can and try and make a difference.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ian. I think, you know, I live in Nebworth in Hertfordshire now, but I don't think if it wasn't for that early formative years of following Norwich and going to the soccer schools and getting involved in, as you quite rightly said, we used to go to Trouse and see the players down there, and Colney I think we might have gone to once or twice later on. You took us to Carrow Road, met the players. I even got a ticket on one of the soccer schools, to be honest, to go and watch. So having all those experiences, I'm not saying I would never have become a Norwich fan, but it certainly helped me to that goal. So yeah, I think 100% what you're saying there. I agree with what you're saying. I still travel 2 hours, 4 hour round trip to come and see the boys play. Yeah, when it gets you, doesn't it? And you can't beat the kind of the glisten on the grass at Carrow Road on a Saturday or a Tuesday night. It's your kind of home, and without going too deep, it's kind of like your modern day church. Whatever the fixture list says, you turn up. And you're there, and you want to experience the highs and the lows. So yeah, for us, it's hugely motivating. But it's great when you can pull out a certificate or a trophy, and we see loads of people that have been involved with the football club in so many different ways. It's what a football club really should be. And I think we were last year through the EFL recognised as Community Club of the Season, which was like a measure for everybody, both past and present. For fans, for our support clubs, for everyone that helps to go, no, we are a proper community club, and we do care about the fan base in our community, but we also want to be successful on the pitch, and that's how I think football clubs should be run. So yeah, we've all been succumbed to fall in love with the passion of the football club and football, haven't we, really?
Yeah, like you said, I think the powerful force of positivity, because I think the message can kind of get lost a little bit these days with how how intense like the Premier League has become in terms of finances, and there can be quite a little bit of negatives. So I think like using football as a force for good, like we do this podcast speaking to fans because we want to hear their story.
Yep.
It's not just about going to, like you said, it's not just about going at 3 p.m. on a Saturday and watching 90 minutes of football. There's so many little tangents that come out of it. Like, for example, when you just said there about being somewhere random in the world, and you're like, you're just minding your own business on your holiday, and you hear I remember two guys were talking. I was on this resort in Cuba, and I heard these two guys talking, and I was like, those accents, they sound familiar. They sound like they're from Norwich. So I turned around and said, where are you guys from? And they're like, oh, we're from Norwich. And then guess what? We started talking about Norwich City Football Club in the 17-18 season. And the club rep on this Cuban resort, I bumped into this chap like a day or so beforehand, and he's like, oh, I'm going on holiday to the UK. I was like, oh, right, cool. Where are you going to go? And thinking it'll be London or Manchester or Leeds or whatever. He goes, a place called Norwich. Do you know of it? And I was like, yeah. And then we started talking about football, and it turns out he'd met these two guys as well. But it's just this craziness that follows us around in our lives. But it's such it brings people together, it can be a force for good.
100%. And it's easy to start a conversation about something you can work on. It might be music, it might be drama, it might be the arts, it might be culture or architecture of a city. But football's definitely my go-to. And I'm sure sports as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So how do you strike a balance between doing the meaningful community work and keeping things financially sustainable?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially in this day and age where we're a registered charity, and that helps us attract funds, which ultimately achieves our articles of association, which is to use the power of football in the community to make a difference. I always talk to the staff about impact versus income. We get motivated about helping people. We get motivated by finding solutions. We get motivated by seeing children learn new skills, or adults that are over 70 come back from a socialisation point of view to, come and make friends or be involved with the football club. We are hugely motivated by connecting, engaging with people, as we've talked about. But you can only do that if you have income. So what we've learned over a period of time is people will tend to invest in you if you are a sustainable, well-run organisation. So we have to look at our income streams, and our income streams will come from funders, they'll come from donors, they'll come from paid-for services. That most charities will offer a paid-for service. So if we can get that balance of income coming in, and that might be people that donate, and we have got some people that donate to us, we have got some fantastic partners. We have to make sure that we can manage the business and run it like a charity. So it has to be operating like a business from an economic, financial point of view. But our surplus and our profit all goes for good. There's no dividends taken out for someone to take a profit out of it at the end of each kind of financial year. Any surplus or any investment we make either goes into people or places. So we found over a period of time, especially during COVID, you have to carry the appropriate cash flow to run the foundation, because during our reserves during COVID were cut into, and we had a choice: do we furlough some members of staff to kind of retain their roles and their positions, because we've got responsibilities for them, because they've all got mortgages and jobs and things that they've got to look after their family. So we have to be reliable as an organisation, that people trust us, want to invest in us because we're sustainable, and that's the way the team here run it particularly well over a 35-year period. And we just need to make sure that anything we do is about helping people. So that balance is always about, look, we can't help people unless we're saving money, bringing in money, or actually seeking help from a partner or a funder to try and do that. So good charities have really got good business models, and they can be really efficient with that. And that's a key part of our foundation here that has allowed us over a period of time to invest in things like Carra Park or the Nest, or start projects like Run Norwich, which need significant investment to get up and running. because as you know, in this day and age, nothing comes from nothing. So we've got to make sure from a business model point of view, if we're organised and we're secure, we can keep doing what we're doing, which is the biggest motivator is helping people and making a difference. So the two balance off each other particularly well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we spoke to we recently did a short film with the community shop there on the Stall City, the Bowles family, who obviously contribute to the CSF, and that that's a fantastic that what they do is a fantastic initiative. How it all came about, how it's grown. It was such a good force, and I think that those kind of individuals and that they should be kind of not celebrated, but we were like, well, let's try and help boost the profile, because all it's going to do is it's going to help more people go to the community shop, right? And it's going to strengthen their relationship with more people, and ultimately that feeds into CSF. So it all has a knock-on effect.
If you look at a lot of charities, whilst we try and operate within the football club as a community department, we have to report to the charity commission, and we have to make sure we're working by charity guidelines. And a lot of charities have charity shops. That is one of their sources of income. And if you talk about the Bowles family, I first met them on tour in Tampa when Jacob was out there, and that's when I first met Jacob. And both Andy and Sharon, to their credit and their entrepreneurial skills, the bit that motivates us the most is they're helping Jacob.
Yeah,
he's a lovely, fantastic fan, great young man, and he is learning his communication skills. He has some purpose. He's passionate about Norwich City Football Club, which is probably an understatement, and that allows him, as an individual with a disability, to talk about football and be in a situation that he's most comfortable in. Andy and Sharon have done an unbelievable job in terms of being very creative, giving up a lot of time to help Jacob, and that's the bit that motivates us fantastically. But in terms of the shop part of it, is there's a commercial bit there in terms of there's a theme of the retro shirt is particularly popular now. Buying recycled items, which we do at the Nest. We have a shop at the Nest as well now. Buying recycled shirts for cheaper or older shirts. They've actually come up with a very, very clever concept that achieves the outcomes we want for Jacob. That is just fantastic. They have a purpose as a family, and they're further connected and involved with the football club and the foundation. But any funds for it come into good. And Jacob was a participant in one of our programs, and very similar to the soccer school story earlier, they wanted to give back. They were involved. They thought we could help. So any money that they raise goes straight back into the projects and programs to help us sustain it. So you go back to your business model earlier. Without the Bowles family, without On the Stall City, we wouldn't be able to provide parts of our programs without their kind of financial support back to us. But the golden nugget here is Jacob is winning. Fans are buying merchandise and old kit, which everyone loves, a retro shirt or a cheaper shirt now. And the foundation is still involved with it to sustain some other programs to help other people. So that's I'd probably say an A1 example of how supporters can get involved. So everybody wins, really.
Yeah. But they also do events at the Forum as well, don't they? They recently did a Subbuteo. It's like a Subbuteo tournament thing, and then there was also the Collectors Fair. So but the beauty of the Collectors Fair, and I think this is a kicker, because what you just said, Ian, is it's not just Norwich fans, it's football fans. So you're creating a positive again, spinning that sort of positivity in football. So fans coming in from other clubs, like they might find out about the CSF purely by coming to an event that they would have never probably heard about it before. So it's just, I find it really fascinating, because I think it's crazy how it spreads and how it stretches.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that some people just want to come to a game of football, watch it, and go home, and that's enough for them, and that's perfectly fine. But some people want to have a podcast and spend more time involved with their football club, talking about their football club. So look, people can choose how they wish to be involved with their football club in any way, shape or form. But there's so many different ways and skills to be involved. We need it as an organisation. It's 100% we need that as an organisation. And without the help and support from lots of people, we don't have the impact and success that we desire and want. But again, go back to influencing people, helping people, really just is good people doing good things for their football club who want to help people and be more involved. And sometimes people tend to overthink stuff. But in this context with the Bowles family, and very similar to our fan supporters group, our fan social club, the Canaries Trust, Forces to Canaries, they're all getting involved with the foundation to try and say, well, we want to be involved in this particular area. How can we get involved? What works for us? And our job is to try and find a solution to motivate them to help us, because they get loads from it as well. And again, when you see Diane and a volunteer team at all the events they organise, or you see Billy Shirts doing stuff at the Collectors Fair, he's spending a personal fortune on something that motivates him. Well, that's brilliant. So that's just another way that, how do we connect with the community away from Carrow Road or the Nest for the women's games? How do we make sure that, we're constantly talking about Norwich City Football Club, we're involved with Norwich City Football Club, because, again, it's quite powerful.
In terms of the facility at the Nesty, and I know you've got, I've never been, shameful, never been, and obviously me and Morgan are hoping to be able to come at some point in the season to have a look at some of the things that you do and perhaps video it with your permission. But the point I was going to get to is you've got your 3G pitches down there, and how often are they used by the local community, and do you run sort of five-a-side leagues for local businesses and stuff that might want to get involved, and would that raise more money for the charity?
Yeah, so if you go back way back when, we were hiring a number of facilities locally, which was costing the charity money. They weren't particularly great, they weren't particularly inspiring for the young children to be around, and we took it on our own responsibility to say, look, we can't accept this, so we've got to do something about it. We could have just gone with a flow and just hired local facilities and local schools, but we made a really, I suppose it was stupid / brave decision at the time to try and look to develop some facilities. So the first one we did was Carrow Park. Part of when we got promoted in 03-04 season, it was part of the support of, we got some money through Barclays at that period of time. And Jackie Thornton, obviously my wife, who's worked here, and one of our superstar employees here, was leading the project at Carrow Park, and within a couple of weeks, that was full. And it was like, okay, so we've got to look at this again. So we kept putting money aside over a period of time to say, look, at some point we're going to buy a piece of land, and we're going to try and develop a community hub that can really make a difference in the community. We fell upon the old Anglian Windows site, which you're more than welcome to come up and see. A derelict site, 22 acres of land, and sat down with the staff. And we took the staff to the site to view it, and we sat down with trustees, and we just said, look, we need to go for this. We're ready for this. Luckily, the Football Foundation were looking to invest in facilities at the time, and forward wind to where we are now. I think we opened it in 2016-17. We kind of took ownership of the land. Where we are in 2024, 150,000 people went through the door in 2024. So if you look at it now, it's got a clubhouse facilities that has residentials. As we talk, Wrexham women are staying and training with us, which is great. We have, say, 70 people can stay in the residential, so teams and clubs can come up and obviously train and play local teams, play our development centre teams, both boys and girls, and our disability teams, and then perhaps come to a game at Carrow Road. We've got conference facilities there. We've got a stadium where the women have now got a home pitch, and that was one of our thoughts that when Jackie set up Norwich City Women, or we set up Norwich City Women years ago, we wanted them to have a home that they felt part of. And I remember talking to Millie Davis, who was the first team captain of the women at the time, saying that, Ian, this is brilliant, we're so lucky, thank you very much. We really feel a part of the football club. And that was a start of the women's integration of supporting the women's team even more. And then in recent times, with the Lionesses winning the 2022 Euros, we were lucky that we had a young lady called Lauren Hemp that was in our programme as a young player. And the Football Foundation wanted to name a pitch and fund the pitch after the success, which they never thought would happen again in 2022. So we've now got 2 full-size 3G pitches. One is named after Lauren, and she'll be using that this weekend. Not that too many people know about that, but there's something coming out this weekend. We're hoping we can do a little bit of engagement work with some young players to bring Lauren back. But whilst we totally respect she's a Manchester City player, but she was in our programme from the age of 9 through to 16, and someone we're unbelievably proud of. So yeah, the facilities at the Nest are just taking us to a complete different level, and it's something that we're kind of unbelievably proud of.
No, it's brilliant, Ian. Funny enough, me and Morgan are absolutely desperate to talk to Lauren Hemp. So make that happen in any way, shape or form, please let us know.
Well, I think at the moment she's got an opening in North Walsham. I think that's what she's got this week.
I'm actually holiday Walsham next week.
She wants to come out, and we want to introduce her to the crowd on Saturday, like we did last time. And I was a part of that last time. It was really interesting because when she walked out of the car park and walked round, there was children like queuing for Timu Puki's autograph and around Timu Puki, which was great because he's our superstar striker at the time.
Yeah.
But then quite a few of them left that queue and joined in and jumped into Lauren's queue quite quickly. So it was what impact the Lionesses and Lauren have had. But yeah, look, she's done unbelievably well. We're really, really proud of her. She's done well at Bristol City. She's done well at Manchester City. And look, you have to forget she's fairly young. And what she's achieved in such a short space of time is remarkable. But she wants to have some connectivity because she's a fan. She wants to have some connectivity with the young female players and help us continue to what we're doing within the girls programme. So you may see something shortly of Lauren at the Nest on the Lauren.
Fantastic. And I think as the ladies club goes like that, and it is going to go like that under the stewardship of Andy, who we had the fortune of speaking to last season, and I think I could foresee in perhaps 5-10 years time a time where we could see Lauren back at Norwich because the facilities and the club will be there, and she'll be able to contribute to that potentially.
We've had that conversation, and it wasn't a no, but I think we've got some high-level Champions League European tournaments to compete in before she's there. But hopefully, you never know. If our women's team are on a growth path, so you never know.
Absolutely. So just moving on then. So out of all of, and I think I know what your answer is going to be here, but out of all of the CSF programs that you do, is there one in particular that stands out for you in terms of its impact?
Yeah, I get asked this question quite a bit in a number of different settings. I think when you look back over time and what's durable, what's sustainable, what's made a real difference. A lot of the core programs we do are around football, and you mustn't, the development centres, the soccer schools, the girls programs, our disability programs. They're proven programs that we're seeing a large number of players, especially in our women's team, have all come through the program. There's a high percentage in that program. When that team that have come through the program, you look at semi-professional football, local football here, whether it be coaches, a lot of them all been connected and come through that program. So look, we mustn't forget our football programs because people tend to take them for granted a little bit because they're there, but they're there to offer extra coaching. They're there to offer some connectivity to the football club. They're there to challenge some players that might progress to an academy or might play a respectable standard of football, but they want to learn and they want to be there. So I still, I'm a big champion of all our football programs. One Norwich is, an unbelievable animal where we started it off the back of needing further fundraising to keep our disability program going. And we looked at marathons, we looked at different fundraising events, and we kind of fell upon a 10K event with lots of support from other different people, and we funded it to start with. But this year we had 8,500 places available, and they went within the first 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. And the bit I like about One Norwich is, yes, it was us, fundraise as a charity. It shows the football club and the foundation and One Norwich are bringing nearly 30,000 people to the city for 5 hours on a Sunday morning. It's helping people with their mental health and their well-being. It's lots of people show memory, remembering the people that have lost in their lives by running and fundraising for them. But it also allows us to help other charities. And sometimes we're in a unique situation here that this football club and foundation gets asked to help a lot of other charities. And we have limited resources as a football club and as a foundation, but Run Norwich is a vehicle that allows other people to run while raising money for their charity or their good cause. So, Run Norwich it's their 10th year this year of Run Norwich, which is just a remarkable, and the people of Norfolk have really embraced it, and it's a national event and an international event. So Run Norwich is something that's really special. I'm going to say the Nest because of the impact that it's had, which is kind of obvious, but we mustn't forget, and our chairman talked about this, is the individual programs for us and individual case studies are just as important to us as the big numbers. We saw 45,000 people last year, but when we work on an on-site program, which is a young child that's having some troubles at home, needs some extra support, and our on-site team here, from a youth point of view, get one-to-one support, one-to-one guidance, is just remarkable. Seeing the growth and the improvement and the confidence and the self-esteem, that motivates us, something which you can't really imagine. We have a tackle learning program where we have young children coming from school, and we're supporting schools trying to get back with their better leadership skills and communication skills. We saw our cerebral palsy team win the FA Cup last year. You talk about representation. We're represented at different levels, all different abilities, all different backgrounds. We have a Down syndrome session on a Saturday morning, which is just fantastic. We have a mini kickers session with families on a Saturday morning. So it's very difficult for me to say which one's the best. I think it's kind of like saying who's your favourite child. But I think that, if I'm honest, I'll probably say that the Nest has achieved some unbelievable connectivity with people in the community, and we have got aspirations to do more. But again, it's just, and I'm not too sure what Norfolk would do without the Nest. If I'm not being arrogant, but just saying that we are seeing conferences, we are seeing touring teams come here, we are seeing kids play football for the first time. During the just coming out of COVID, we built the Challenge Woods, which is an adventure play area at the Nest. We were seeing families meet each other for the first time during lockdown, nans and granddads, and they were crying as they were queuing to go down the zip wire because it's the first time they've seen each other. So things like that. I'd probably say there was a picture of it in your jingle at the start of we have a project called Duncan's Club.
That's right.
In memory of Duncan Forbes. Fantastic player, great leader, good personality. But unfortunately, Duncan suffered from dementia. And we have a dementia program on a Thursday, which Sue, who you spoke to before, is a volunteer with, and we have Ronnie and lots of other volunteers there as well. And it just does. They get out the Pinker newspaper, they get out they get music out. They just have fun, and it helps the carers, the husband and wife of the person that's suffering dementia, and that for a football club to provide something on a Thursday on a regular basis that helps them in their life is just as motivating for us as it is seeing 150,000 people at the Nest or seeing 25,000 people in the city for Run Norwich. So I'm not going to give you other than the Nest. There's lots of things we're unbelievably proud of. But if I'm honest, we're only just touching the edges, and there's so much more we should be doing.
I think it's so diverse, and there's so much you can do with it, because it's not just the football aspect, is it? It's all the things around that you could do, and no, I think it's brilliant. I think something that me and Morgan have talked about as well is, and I don't know if it's something that the CSF do, and this is very sort of embryonic in its discussion, but with Morgan, you'll remember this. We talked about doing like a mental health chat with, maybe on a Friday evening or whatever evening, you get a group of men that want to come down and just chat to each other that, wouldn't have that opportunity. So it's something that we're looking to do, and perhaps sort of push out to other clubs as well. A lot of things we have, whether it be partners, funders, or people who've got some challenges, we like trying to find a solution to things. We like trying to work out, well, how can we do that with the resources that we've got? We have Team Talk, which is a mental health walking football session. We have a dads program for people who have been new dads. Again, it's football and it's support. So the running club is fine. We have a number of different programs that, you've got to look beyond the word football. Football's just a connection bit. And whether it be mental health, whether it be well-being, whether it be social isolation, there's lots of things that we can try and bring everyone together. And that's what the test was built for. Skills, qualifications, support, memories, signposting, and because we don't profess to be the experts in everything, we will definitely move people
on to people that are miles more qualified and experienced than us. Yeah, look, there's lots of things we can do, but it always comes back to the question you asked earlier about running a sustainable kind of charity businesses. Can we afford to do it? Are we the experts? Who can we get help for? But look, we'll do our best to make sure that we're supporting everyone. But we do know that's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to be the answer to everything. But look, we can have a go, and we've done as much as we can so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you said something a second ago. You know, you were like, you didn't want to appear kind of arrogant, whatever. And I think that I think something like the Nest, and I think the reasons why Norwich is so, the football club is so integral to the community, is because of where it is. Like I spent a long time living in London. Jez is in the middle of the country, more or less, and you know, you have so many different opportunities around these areas because of what the location. Norfolk is quite isolated, and I think that, you know, I currently live in Dereham. Dereham is in the middle of nowhere, effectively, and without the Nest, without the CSF, where would that support and those opportunities maybe come from? Because you're not 5 minutes from Stevenage or Luton or Watford, or you're not 5 minutes from Colchester. Like, Norfolk is out of the way. So without what you do, where does that, like I said, where does that support come from? And I think that's really important. I think that's a really important point to acknowledge.
Yeah, it's difficult. It is really difficult. Running a football club is difficult. Running a foundation is difficult. Running a business is very difficult. They're not easy things to do. What we've looked at trying to do is invest in what we call our places. So we invest in Carrow Park, we invest in the Nest, we operate the facility at Bundle. There's lots of good local football clubs that are doing good work in their community. There's lots of good charities doing good work in their community. But with the resources we've got, we've stretched as far as we can go. But, you know, with more partnerships, more income, more aspirations, which we have got, you know, we want to reach out to Galston, we want to reach out to Kings Lynn and Dereham. But, you know, Norfolk is very rural, but we are dictated what facilities are available. So a lot of that reach might be within schools, and that might be in a town setting of using a local kind of mugger pitch to take an inclusive session out there. But with the resources we've got, we're not going to reach everybody at this moment in time, but we're always going to try and try and find a way. And as they say in the song, you know, green flag flying high, we want the yellow and green flag in as many places as we possibly can. But when you look at 2 to 92, you look at the demographics, you look at the challenges and the need. It's not an easy thing to achieve, but you know, we're really proud of what we've achieved so far, and we've got a lot of things wrong. We had a lot of help, and we've got a lot of things right, but we're still hugely motivated to kind of make sure Norwich City is doing their bit in the community.
Yeah, you've kind of answered my question. Jez, can I move on and ask the relationship question?
Yeah.
Is that right?
So weird how in tune we are, Morgan. I was literally just about to say that.
Okay. So what's the relationship like between the foundation and the football club itself? How involved is the club in shaping what you do?
Yeah, look, it's strong. I'm sitting in Carrow Road now. Our offices are based at Carrow Road. We work really closely with the football club in a number of different facets. So from a strategic point of view, Zoe Webber and Tom Smith both sit on the board of trustees of the foundation. So they sit as they're trustees for us as well. The executive team have got roles within the foundation, whether it be at the Nest as a director, and the senior leadership team are involved in a number of different operational projects. So we've just had a match day planning meeting this morning where we'll operate Fan Zone on a match day. So they won't necessarily shape it, but at the moment and for a number of years, it's kind of been led by us. Because we've been actually driving this, and they've just said, look, keep doing what you're doing. But do they believe in what we're doing? Yes. Do they shape it? Yes. Are they involved in the strategy of it? Yes. Do we sit as one of their strategic pillars in the community? Yes. So they've got 5 core pillars, and when fan engagement and community engagement is one of them pillars. So it's more of a collaborative piece of work where no one's really looking to take the credit or the attention. It's just very much within the DNA of the football club for a number of years that, you know, being a community club is what it's all about. So, you know, we receive some good support both from the playing staff, the coaching staff, the team at the event training ground. So from a strategic point of view, we'll work together, and from an operation point of view, is pretty much interlined with each other in so many different projects and programs.
No, it's brilliant. I think you mentioned there about the players that get involved at the CSF. And I think one of the more high-profile ones last season was Jack Stacey. He used to come down and on a weekly basis to deliver coaching sessions, I believe. But as well as Jack, is there any other players in the current squad or any squads that you've been involved with that you want to give a shout out to that have been a big supporter of the CSF?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think when you get back to that connectivity bit at the start about role models, everyone sees kind of a male footballer on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday night, and we can allow to bring coaches and players to them to make sure they're accessible. Jack was a remarkable contribution last year, meant that he won the championship player in the community award for volunteering on a weekly basis in our Realising Potential program, which is a disability program, disability youth club based at the Nest. And he does it of his own time. He turns up, he grabs a bag of balls, or he goes and plays table tennis, and the feedback you get from the participants is just out of this world. So Jack, it has been fantastic. All the players last season donate to the foundation. The question asked is, do the players donate? Yes, they do. They do two things. They donate time and they donate money, which allows us to help. So they do their bit as well. I'm looking forward to meeting the new squad at some point because we've signed quite a few players. So our job will be we tend to meet the new player before he comes, or if he's signing, but not just signing for a football club. This is where your family are going to be, and your family will integrate with us as a club, whether it be at the Nest, at the Challenge Woods, or we'll engage the family as much as we will the player. But I think that Jack's contribution last year was fantastic, and now we've got the women's game where our women's team are interacting in the community as well, and
Brilliant.
even at one of the events. Our players and our captain of our cerebral palsy team is opening different events. So, we're getting representation across all our different programs that are working in the community, not just a stereotypical bloke who plays on a Saturday afternoon. So, we've got some role models. But I suppose to answer your question about other players since I've been here, look, Brian Gunn, Darren Eady were brilliant back in the day. They were the star players at the time. They were great in the community and still are great in the community. Brian's still active with the foundation. Darren is an ambassador for the football club. Adam Drury was great as a player, and now he's worked for us for nearly 10 years. So he's made the transition from kind of a player to an employee of the foundation. Russell Martin was particularly impressive. Gave a lot of time up. We helped him set his own foundation up, which he's got back in Brighton. Christoph Zimmer, Zimbo was fantastic. Zimbo would spend more time at Carrow Park, helping our disability officer plan events and contribute, helping the community. Zimbo was really good, but all the players, and especially during the pandemic, all the players clubbed together and donated nearly £200,000. I actually picked up a project within the space of a very short space of time to go and help in the community. So whilst our players do their pieces of media, they'll do their player appearances. Some are more comfortable at communicating publicly than others. Do they care and want to be involved at this football club? They do, and that's something that we want. The kind of the Brian Guns, the Darren Eady, the Russell Hines, and the Zimbos. They all did their bit, and Kenny McLean. When we take the players up to Colney, Kenny McLean is excellent with them, as is all the staff as well. And it's just a cultural thing. I've really come across any player that doesn't accept what we expect from them in that connectivity. And the nice thing now is that the likes of Freya Simons and Sarah Quantrill, and they're all doing the same thing from a female point of view as well.
No, I think that's really important, isn't it? Because as we talked about at length earlier, the strength of the women's games going from strength to strength, and I think it's so important that they're getting involved with that. And I think moving on, because I'm conscious we've taken a lot of your time already. Inclusion is a big focus in the community work, but how does the CSF make sure no one gets left behind?
Yeah, because that's difficult. I'd probably say, just to reinforce what I said earlier, we're not the answer to everything. If we haven't got the skills or the resources, then we try and work with someone else. But from a anyone that connects with us on any of our projects or programs, the staff kind of like supported and trained, and some have a lot of natural skills where, especially from a school's point of view, the kind of differentiation of a delivery is just making sure that all abilities, all individuals that just want to make sure that we create safe places where they feel they can be themselves, they can enjoy the environment they're in, and we can help them grow and develop to whoever they want to be as an individual. And if that helps them with their sporting professions, whether it be running or whether it be a sports provision that we provide in a school, we do our best to make sure we make people feel happy, we make people feel challenged, and they're learning and growing. And we all know that from young people or people that have got particular challenges, that's not an easy skill to have. So look, we do our best, and we might get the odd thing wrong at times, but from the whole of the county, it's very difficult to not miss anybody, because we're definitely not going to have that reach as much as we would love it. But yeah, we strive to make sure people enjoy their time with us. And going back to your certificates earlier, we make memories that people don't forget where we possibly can.
I mean, I suppose that actually feeds quite nicely into looking ahead and sort of the main goals for the foundation over the next few years. You don't mind if I just skip ahead to that question, Jez, because I think that segues quite nicely. So what are your main focuses over the next few years? I feel like this is a job interview, Ian. Sorry.
I'm not too sure if I want the job, if I'm honest with you. That's a lie. I do want the job. Look, our principles remain exactly the same. From the first question that you said, is that we still want to, we're highly motivated to inspire and support our community as much as we possibly can. We want to make our families particularly proud. We want to make Norfolk particularly proud. So we've got to maintain our service, maintain what we're offering at the moment is kind of the benchmark. That's the minimum. And make sure that we still maintain our standards and our communication and them sort of experiences are still A1. And at times do we get things wrong? Yes. And we'll always try and put them right. Do we try and make sure we make people happy and involved with the football club? Yes, we do. I think from a business point of view, when you asked earlier, that sustainability piece is really important. So we're always looking for extra help, whether it be partners, funders, or donators, or those that got creative ideas that think, can we do this and we could fund it this way? We're looking to work with more people. From a partnership point of view, a lot of our success is down to good people, good businesses, and good partners that are involved with us. We've had some fantastic help from the support groups, whether it be the Fan Social Club, whether it be Canaries Trust, whether it be On the Stool City, or whether it be Forces Canaries. We do some great work we've just signed a strategic partnership with Norse. The Norse group do some great work in the country and in Norfolk in particular. So we're doing some kind of food poverty projects, we're doing some food education projects in schools. They help us fund Run Norwich. So I think the aspiration for us can we get more people to support and be involved for us to make a difference as much as we possibly can. And I think, I suppose the big visionary aspiration for us is we still want to develop the Nest. We're looking at developing paddle courts at the Nest at the moment, because we think we can offer community paddle, where there's a kind of a real surge of demand for everyone playing paddle. We think we could do inclusive paddle for our extra time groups or over 60s, or family paddle. So we think we can develop the site and the offering at the site, which is great. But we've got aspirations to build a youth hub at the Nest.
Oh, amazing.
And that hub is almost like an £8 million project.
Right, okay.
Planning permission for at the moment, but that allows us to work with more young people. And going back to what we said earlier, if you can look beyond the football sport and the football club bit, it's actually mental health, well-being, isolation, making friends, building confidence, signposting people into jobs or qualifications, or looking at their education programs, because we offer education programs here. But we can only do places to do that. So look, we'll continue to do as much as we possibly can to make this football club and its fan base proud of us. But we can only do that with more help. So my call to action would be is, if you've got an idea and you want to get involved, reach out. And if we can do it, we will. If we can't, we'll try and find a way or find a polite answer to say, not yet.
No, definitely. How would you, so obviously talking about that, how would you measure the long-term impact of what you're doing there? And would it be sort of around, developing people, getting people into work? Is there anything else that you look at in terms of that long-term aspect?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can measure success for different people in different programs at different times. I could give you numerous examples of young people that have come on, build their confidence. That's success. But if you're looking at it from a statistic point of view, so we'll measure our social return on investment. So what are the economic, social, and environmental benefits to Norfolk? And our commitment and contribution to Norfolk last year was £65 million.
Wow.
There's a saving to the kind of the public purse. From a statistic point of view, we're measuring how many people we're connected with. I think last year it was around about 45,000 individuals and 800,000 individual hours. So we can look at the measures in terms of impact in the community. If you look at the economic benefits to Run Norwich, or to Norwich through Run Norwich on Sunday morning, is huge. Again, we've still got to look at the individual ones of friendships being made, qualifications being given, people progressing into jobs, or people bringing out their certificate however many years on. That's a measure for me. That's a measure. And someone bumping you up in the street or at the club on a match, they're going, I did this and I was a part of that. We don't profess to take the credit for a lot of things, but we just want to be a part of someone's journey. It might have helped him at a dark day. It might help him at a good day. So there's so many different ways you can measure success. At the moment, we've got the Canary Cup happening at the Nest. So we've got 12 teams playing from outside of the county. There's other professional football clubs and through their foundations. Success for them might be putting on their club shirt and being a part of their football club. And that representation bit is massive. So whilst we have the social return on investment, and we look at our business models and return on payment things from a strategic and operational point of view, nothing motivates us more than individual points of self-esteem, confidence, mental health and well-being. There's real measured success there. And when you see someone smile or get a medal around the neck at Run Norwich, you go in, that's success. So I don't know if that answers your question, Jez, or not, but that's
it does.
I think so.
By the way,
I mean,
Morgan,
coach
that I've just realised the coach that gave me an attitude score of 1 for attitude was John Dennis.
Yes, John was a Thetford-based coach, and his son was involved with the programme at the time as well. So I'd probably say John was a highly respectable coach. I'd probably say, with the greatest respect, his assessment was correct.
Amazing. Sorry, Morgan, I interrupted you. Carry on.
No, I was just going to say that I think that I think it's been really interesting having this conversation, because in my sort of naivety, and I'm going to be honest, CSF for me, before I started understanding more about it, was just football, soccer schools, whatever. But I think that the fact that you're, having explained what it is to me and Jez, and hopefully to our 5 viewers.
Does that include us three?
Pardon?
Does that include us three as these viewers?
That's a good point. Yeah, why not? But I hope that sort of unpacks the myth a little bit. You sort of see what I'm saying, because that you're right. It's about so much more than just football. Yeah,
I think when someone says, "What do you do?" It's not a question we've ever really nailed, because we do a lot, and some of our young people that we work with that are either in care or have got some personal challenges, we can't come out and say some of the projects and programs we're helping with, because it's information that can't go in the public domain.
Yeah.
But rest assured that everyone that donates to us, everyone that funds us, everyone that partners with us, everyone that pays for a service, it's going to help people, and we're trying to do as much as we possibly can, whether it be our own employees, and like we go back to the jobs question earlier, Jez. I think 65% of our current workforce have come through our program at some point. So it's not just a football program for football. It's actually, there might be an education opportunity with us, because we run a college program here. We run a degree program here, so you can do your full learning from 16 to kind of 23 with us, and progress. So from that involvement point of view, is the football bit is the hook.
Yeah.
That's the hook. But I'd encourage everyone. I'm really pleased that you said that, Morgan. So thank you very much for that. It's the bigger picture stuff. How can we help someone personally in their own personal way? And look, we're not going to be able to do that to everybody. I'll make that quite clear. But we do our best where we possibly can.
Definitely. Morgan, question 9.
Sorry, you didn't number these. What
Looking
is
ahead.
question? Huh?
Looking ahead.
Looking ahead. I've already asked that.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, all right then. Then final one.
What grade did you get for awareness on your certificate, Jez?
Yeah, it's the last question, Morgan.
Okay.
So
So
we'll definitely question of the week.
Yeah.
You got this, Ian, but Morgan every episode does a random question. So I like to give people a fair warning. So the final question before we move to that is, so for any other football club or sports organisation trying to do work in their communities, what would be the biggest piece of advice you could give them?
We were lucky. So part of the EFL network and the Premier League network as well. Every club has a foundation, and we were lucky and we were asked to host the EFL kind of facilities development conference at the Nest a couple of weeks ago. I think we had about 30 different football clubs and their foundations at the Nest, which was great. And we didn't profess to know everything, but we were kind of held in an area of good practice. And there was 4 other guys that presented on whilst there as well. But for me, it's about people. People make projects, people make football clubs. We have a volunteer officer now that we have a number of people that kind of volunteer and be involved with us, but have good plans. Make sure you're surrounded by, and that's what I've done, is surround yourself around people that are better than you. I've got the skills, qualifications, and resources, and I'm lucky. I've got some great trustees. I've got some great directors in the Nest. I've got an unbelievable workforce, both past and present. But for me, it's about 2 things: people and places. Get the right place to do it, and get the right people around you that have got the same values, same morals, same passion, and pretty much with a bit of will and hard work and grit, you can make a lot happen.
That's a really good point, because I feel like it sounds similar to what Jez did with this podcast. Like, he set it up. You give yourself some credit.
Thanks. Thank you.
He wanted to focus on fan stories. He set it up last September, and then he's been chipping away at it and here we are, sat in front of you, Ian, on a video screen however many months later. But Jez has worked hard. He's pushed and pushed and pushed, and he harasses people all the time as well. And I think that there's a lot of work that goes into this stuff that people don't realize, that it takes a lot to keep emailing people to come on. But I think you've done, and it raises people's awareness of other fan stories, and not just fans of Norwich as well, but rival fans of other teams coming to Carrow Road. We speak to them as well, and it's just this culture of fandom, and there are parallels. There's crazy stories, and the highs and lows of following a football club. And I think, if it wasn't for, like, it's weird that Jez said this right at the beginning of this episode, if it wasn't for your schools that he went to, would he have, however many years later, decided to do this?
Yeah, and would he have ever fell in love with Norwich City as a club? Would he ever bought a shirt, been to a game, created some memories? And I say this politely, had further purpose and thought in his life to go, actually, I'm going to do this education, this employment, this is my hobby. It's actually finding things that make you happy. And at times, I suppose as an Englishman, having England and Norwich as my two, it is challenging, because not always is it, it's not always going up here. But look at the bigger picture and the things that football teaches you, the friends it makes you, the resilience. We talk about our behaviours at the football club, about resilient and being a team player. It's tough, in the big wide world at the moment. It's tough. People have got a lot of challenges, both individually and businesses. But if you find somewhere that makes you happy, and I know Carrow Road is a lot of people's happy place most of the time. Be around people that create memories, that make you happy, that make you feel safe. Allow you to grow and develop as a person whilst whatever you're doing. But when you look at it in terms of the story of the football club, you go back to the Nest. The Nest was named after the football club was the home, in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history, connected with families that are passing season tickets to each other, from years and years and gone by. There's growth of the stadium, there's growth of the training ground. And look, football's such a powerful force. To go back to our first conversation when we first kind of turned on the screen, those at Norwich City are doing as much as we possibly can with resources that we've got to make a difference. And I hope everyone's kind of proud of that.
I was just about to say the word proud, Ian, because I think that's what I feel when people around here, obviously, there's not around here for obvious reasons, but they say, "Oh, who do you support, Norwich?" It's not always about the memories is obviously a key part of it, but it's the sense of pride that I feel when I say, "Oh, I'm a Norwich fan," and I think it's born out of the work that yourself and your team do at the CSF, because it's, yes, I'm proud to say I'm from Norwich. I'm a Norfolk man, if you like, but I also it's that bigger picture around the club and what they do, and all the stuff Morgan mentioned about the podcast. Well, it's a very selfish thing for me. I do it because I get to talk to Norwich people that are Norwich fans, and it's evolved into something else. But it's great. I've been so pleased to be able to speak to you today, and I guess thank you personally for what you did for me and my child, but equally what you do for every single member of the community that we have at Norwich City.
So I'll go back to Matt Baisley and John Dennis and tell them that you agree with their assessment. And is that correct?
Yes, yeah, please do.
No, that's great. Look, you're more than welcome to come to the Nest whenever you want. If you want to speak to some of the staff and some of the participants in our programs and hear it from them, because they're the real kind of heroes that staff here. They do, I'm so lucky to have a great group of staff here, and a great volunteer base. So look, you're more than welcome to come to the Nest whenever you want, and just let us know. But no, keep doing what you're doing.
No, thank you. Okay, so Morgan, over to you.
Okay,
chair spin.
You what, Jez?
I said yes, you do have to do the chair spin.
I started this one time and it stuck. I really wish I hadn't have done it. Random question of the week.
Crazy, absolutely crazy.
I know. So obviously at the CSF you do various activities and in different guises. For this particular question, you're in an egg and spoon race, but you're tied to a former player. Who would it be and why?
Well, I want to win the race, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we have fast player.
Yeah, but it's an egg and spoon. It's an egg and spoon race. If you've got someone who's too fast, your egg is going to come off your spoon.
Yeah, but from a technical skill point of view, I'll work that out.
Okay.
But I suppose it's about coordination, technique, and skill, and trying to find solutions. So, if I'm going for pace, I'm going for Darren Eady or Darren Huckabee.
Yeah.
But my concern is I won't keep up with them, so I'll probably drop the egg. So I'll probably set up for Brian Gunn, and we'll just poodle along, same size, same shape, but we'll get to the end somehow. So it feels like a tortoise and a hare race.
Yeah.
We'll bide our time, but we'll find a solution to get there. So I'd like to be quick, but unfortunately that's not one of my attributes. I'll set up for Gunny, or I suppose to a certain extent Adam Drury would be good, but I'm not sure my legs would tape to his legs too well. So I'll go for Gunny. So I'll win the race over. That is proper random, by the way.
Oh, I mean, Jez has had to put up with this for 7 months.
You can master it. So my question back to you is then, who would you strap yourself to win an egg and spoon race?
Jez.
Who would I do? So I'd probably have. I'd go with the height.
I'll spin my chair around because I've not got wheels on my chair, but.
So yeah, I'm 6'4", so I'd have to have someone that's relatively tall and relatively big. So, I mean, probably someone like. Can I pick a non-Norwich player, or does that have to be a Norwich player?
You can pick it.
You go wild, mate.
Steve McNulty. Okay, that is. He's Luton, centre back.
Long while ago, yeah.
He was certainly a formidable force, shall we say? So yeah, no, Norwich would probably be Peter Crouch, just because why not? You know, I think he wasn't particularly pacey, was he? But I think it was the height thing, and he'd be able to sort of not drag me along as such, but take me along for the ride, and I'll do the spoon and the egg. That's fine. But yeah, Crouch, you can do the rest.
You just make sure you've got the right attitude to approach it properly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Ian, thank you so much. It's been brilliant to get to know a little bit more about you and see you again after all. Just to give you an idea, I'm 39 now, so that was probably at least 30 years ago that we did these soccer camps. So
yeah, well, I had a big 5-0 on Friday, so that tells you what the age gap is now. So yeah, it's good. Look, I love it in terms of the certificates coming out, and if anyone's got any old photograph certificates they want to share and show them, we absolutely love seeing these and the stories that come out. So we've had lots of effect on lots of different people over a period of time, and long may that continue in everything that we're doing.
No, absolutely. Morgan, anything from you before we finish?
I just want to say thanks for making my Norfolk shows so memorable.
With the curtain.
With those paper hats.
What you did there?
Sorry?
What did you do at the Norfolk show?
You'd go and get a Norwich City goodie bag and meet a player.
That was a long while ago.
That shows how old I am.
That was a long while ago.
But yeah, those are good days. I got a little Norwich pencil. It's like sort of different, the reflecting pencils with a little rubber on the end. Crap rubbers, but yeah, good pencil.
The merchandise has improved a lot since then. Get yourself down to the shop and see what you've got. There you go. Look, not bad.
Bamboo pen I use. It's good.
That makes two of us. Look.
I'm looking forward to the invite of next year's community. Beyond the Barclay. What's that?
Yeah. So we've still got the same. We're doing the same. All sustainability.
No, so I was looking forward to the Community Sports Foundation times Beyond the Barclay egg and spoon race next year.
When you come to the nest, you can recreate it as much as you possibly want.
There we go. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. For everyone else listening, please do like and subscribe on our channel to hear more great content from Beyond the Barclay. You can follow us on all of the social media channels as well. We are available on all podcast stations as well as YouTube. Also, please, if you can, please donate anything you can to the Community Sports Foundation to support the projects that Ian and his team are involved with. Thank you so much, and look forward to speaking to everyone soon. I've been Jez Davies.
I've been Morgan Hewitt.
And I won the egg and spoon race.
Bye, everyone.
That's all for this episode of Beyond the Barclay. Thanks for listening and supporting the podcast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share it with fellow Norwich City fans. We'll be back soon with more insight and discussion from around Carrow Road. Until then, on the ball, City.